Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indian, and Haitians. Let's give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash, the Most High, the Heavenly Father. His Hebrew name is Yahweh, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah. It's Yahweh. His only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christus, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua. It's Yahweh Shah. So we got to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders over all of Israel. And a sincere salutation to all the Akim pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hopeful elect. And shalom to the Akwathim who are listening and learning, the few sisters who are listening and learning. I'm Isaiah from the GMS Orlando camp, coming into another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification, another daily edification. Lord's willing, let's be edifying. And this is kind of like a lamb back off the lesson that I did yesterday, dealing with US and China. Because what these devils don't understand is the Lord is creating this technology, is giving them the technology to create these upgraded jets, like these stealth bombers and all these fighter jets, because the Heavenly Father Yahweh, when he sent his son Yahweh back, it's going to be a great fight. As it says, it's going to be a war in heaven. Now that these wacky tacky Christians with this plantation Christianity, they really think it's going to be a war in the spiritual realm, man. No, that war is talking about being fought right here on earth, man. Okay? Right here on earth. That war will be fought here on earth. But you got these people, they don't understand the scriptures. So they feel like Satan got kicked out of heaven and so forth. But that's not the case, man. The scriptures plainly tell you that's talking about the so-called white man and his armies is going to fight against Yahushua and his army. So I got a little video I'm going to play. It's only 12 minutes, and I'm going to get some precepts. Lord willing, let's be edifying. Hey, Shalom. Shalom, Akim. Yahweh Shema Shah, Bashim Kakadash, Barakatham. Shalom. Hey, so Lord willing, man, let's be edifying. Let me pull this. These devils, they don't understand that the Lord has given them the technology to create these missiles and these jets. Like I was telling the brothers a while ago about this new jet that they got. It's called a TR-3B, and it looked like a shape of a Dorito, man, because they're trying to make it closest to the Cherish as possible. But that's the Lord giving them that technology to give his son a good fight, man. So Lord willing, let's be edifying.
Welcome back again, everyone. It's Dina Calamity here. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. We got some rain towards the end of the week, and the weekend was actually very beautiful where I live. So definitely a nice change compared to what we saw last week. But with that said, I'd like to share some headlines with you that have occurred in the last couple of days. And I'd like to start with the US, China, and Taiwan, as it is being reported. Apparently, China's Air Force has released a video showing nuclear-capable H-6 bombers carrying out a simulated attack on what appears to be the Andersen Air Force Base in Guam. The video, released on Saturday on the People's Liberation Army's Air Force account, came as China carried out a second day of drills near Taiwan to express anger at the visit of a senior U.S. State Department official to Taipei. Guam is home to major U.S. military facilities, including the airbase, which would be key to responding to any conflict in the Asia-Pacific region. The Chinese Air Force's 2-minute and 15-second video, set to solemn, dramatic music like a trailer for a Hollywood movie, shows H-6 bombers taking off from a desert base. And the video is called "The God of War, H-6K Goes on Attack." It goes on further to report that the Chinese Air Force wrote in a brief description for the video that we are the defenders of the motherland's aerial security. We have the confidence and ability to always defend the security of the motherland skies. But experts believe that the video is meant to warn the Americans that even supposedly safe, other positions such as Guam may come under threat when conflicts over regional flashpoints, be it Taiwan or the South China Sea, erupt. So certainly very dramatic coming from China. And I'll leave a link for you guys below this video so that if you'd like, you can go see the video for yourself. But this is the same type of propaganda that we've seen from even North Korea in the past. Just another scare tactic. But it goes to show that China is very angry right now with the US and Taiwan. And speaking of Taiwan, in an apparent warning to China, Taiwan stated on Monday that its armed forces have the right to self-defense and counter-attack amid harassment and threats. Taiwan's defense minister said it had clearly defined procedures for a first response amid high frequency of harassment and threats from the enemy's warships and aircraft this year. It said that Taiwan had the right to self-defense and to counterattack, and followed the guideline of no escalation of conflict. Of course, Taiwan would not provoke, but it is also not afraid of the enemy. But China's foreign ministry has stated that Taiwan is an inseparable part of Chinese territory. The so-called midline of the strait does not exist. Taiwan and China's combat aircraft normally observe the midline of the Taiwan Strait and do not cross it, although there is no official agreement between Taipei and Beijing on doing so, and the rule is observed unofficially. Now, since 2016, Taiwan has reported only 5 Chinese incursions across the line, including 2 last week. But it definitely seems like China has become more provocative in recent months, and hopefully it will not lead to a conflict. But if China is serious about taking Taiwan by force, then it's inevitable, especially in the season where we're at with Bible prophecy, wars and rumors of wars. And to go with that thought, it is being reported that China's military drills are a rehearsal for a full-scale invasion, which will happen if Taiwan continues to align itself with President Trump's United States. And the slightest misjudgment by either Taiwan's president or U.S. President Donald Trump risks triggering a catastrophic war, it has been claimed. Meanwhile, any bid by U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to follow the health chief's visit to the island would result in Chinese jets flying over Taiwan itself. These series of warnings was issued in an editorial in the state-run Chinese paper, the Global Times. The People's Liberation deployed its Eastern Theater Command to take part in a real combat military exercise close to the Taiwan Straits starting on Friday. The editorial stated that if the U.S. Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense comes to Taiwan, the PLA should fly its aircraft over the island and conduct exercises above it. Also stating that the missiles that we test should also fly over Taiwan, even its presidential office building. If Taiwan's authorities continue to act aggressively, such scenarios will definitely come true. So definitely a very hot situation right now between Taiwan, China, and the US. And speaking of a hot situation, India has tested their new French fighter jets in skies near the Chinese border. Now, this will definitely seem very aggressive to China because these two nations have experienced some serious scuffles in the last few months, as I reported. So certainly a very tense situation. And I
See, that's what. Hey, it's all in the scriptures, man. So you see, the Lord is furthering their technology to create more and more angels, man, which is their jets, their fighter jets. Why? Because the Lord is going to give his son, Yahushua, a great battle, man. So it seemed like it anyway. It ain't really going to be a great battle because they tell you that he neither lifts sword nor held. Hey, he just out of his mouth, man. Hey, that concentrated heat, man, them laser beams. But it's going to seem like North America, Esau, Edom, going to have a good hand up on the Lord, man, because of the technology that the Lord has given them to create, man. These jets, their missiles, but it really ain't, man.
have yet to hear China respond, but when I do, I will keep you updated. But let's move on and talk about the US, Syria, and Russia. It was reported on Friday that Bradley fighting vehicles have headed back into eastern Syria, according to the Pentagon, a move that comes after a tense encounter with the Russian forces that left 4 U.S. troops lightly injured last month. The return of the mechanized units also comes as the U.S. military deployed the Sentinel radar and increased the frequency of fighter jet patrols over U.S. forces in that part of Syria.
Everything
According
about
to
them
the U.S.
fighter
Central
jets,
Command
man.
spokesman, these actions are a clear demonstration of U.S. resolve to defend coalition forces in the eastern Syria security area and to ensure that they are also able to continue their defeat against ISIS. The Defense Department has previously deployed Bradleys to northeast Syria pursuant to these goals. The spokesman also added that the United States does not seek conflict with any other nation in Syria, but will defend coalition forces if necessary. As of right now, there are roughly 500 U.S. troops in Syria's northeast guarding oil fields from IS and working alongside the Syrian Democratic Forces. However, there was no mention of Moscow, but another U.S. official who refused to be named stated that the deployments are meant as a clear signal to Russia to adhere to mutual deconfliction processes and avoid unprofessional, unsafe, and provocative actions in northeast Syria. In the meantime, over in the Black Sea, Russia has issued a dire warning to the U.S. after accusing the Navy of provocative and dangerous military activities.
You see that? It say Russia warns U.S. Putin attacks Trump and NATO over what is it? Provocative and dangerous acts. Hey man, because it tells you in Ezekiel 38 that Russia will be a guard to the other nations, man.
In the Black Sea. In a bold statement last week, Russia's defense ministry claimed that the U.S. Navy and NATO ships had increased their presence in the region. Not only have the two forces increased their naval presence, but also have upped their strategic aviation intelligence. And due to the importance of the Black Sea, which is located off the coast of southwestern edge of Russia, the Kremlin has warned the U.S. that they are at risk of increasing tensions in the region. The statement said the following: "We are alarmed by U.S. actions and their allies in NATO who declare their desire to prevent incidents during combat training, but in practice continue to conduct provocative and dangerous military activities in the Black Sea region. Under the guise of threats from Russia, NATO brings its military activities closer to our borders. This increases a degree of tension and leads to a decrease in the level of security in the Black Sea region." The first deputy chief of general staff of the Russian armed forces said that NATO and U.S. ships had increased their stay in the Black Sea by 33% from January to September. And of that number, 40% of those ships carry high-precision, long-range weapons, such as the USS Franklin, which has 90 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Reconnaissance aircraft flights had also increased by 40% compared with last year. It goes on further to report that NATO troops have been sent to the region in order to stop any Russian aggression in the Baltic. Last week, Russian fighters were also dispatched to escort British and U.S. warplanes away from the Black Sea. And also, a Russian Su-27 fighter jet was scrambled after a U.S. maritime plane was located in the sea. And a British plane was also escorted out of the region on Thursday by a Russian jet. And such incidents have occurred numerous times over the last few months. So tensions have definitely escalated in the last few weeks between Russia, NATO, and the US. It certainly seems like Trump is keeping these nations on their toes. And with that said, the US has made Russia an offer it hopes she won't refuse. Apparently, the 2011 New START Treaty remains the only arms control deal in force between Moscow and Washington. However, it is due to expire in February, and negotiations to replace it remain deadlocked. But the U.S. wants to extend the New START, as Russia has repeatedly requested. But this New START will be less than 5 years, and only a memorandum of intent rather than a binding treaty. According to the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for arms control. Washington has stated that they want China to be a part of the deal. Russia has no opposition to this in theory, but insists that if China be rolled in, so too should Britain and France. The U.S. Special Envoy stated that we think it's necessary to specifically mention China, especially when we're talking about a future treaty, but also added that Washington will keep the UK and France out of the deal, as neither are actively developing and deploying nukes on the same scale as China. Beijing, for its part, has refused to join such a treaty. Russia has also pushed the US to scale back its nuclear arsenal in Europe. But according to the US, they will not remove nuclear weapons from any area of the storage sites. And further sticking points include the issue of tactical missiles, which Russian officials have refused to discuss in the past. But should Moscow refuse the current demands, the U.S. Special Envoy issued a warning. If Russia does not accept, then after President Trump is reelected, the entry fee, as we say in the U.S., will increase. He also stated that if an agreement is not reached by February, the U.S. will abandon the treaty entirely and press ahead with modernizing its nuclear arsenal, stating that Russia has largely completed its modernization of its nuclear arsenal. We are just starting ours, and we will be extremely happy to continue it without the START restrictions. Now, President Putin, on the other hand, has stated that we had to create these weapons in response to the U.S. deployment of a strategic missile defense system, which in the future would be capable of virtually neutralizing, zeroing out all our nuclear potential. So if the US and Russia cannot come to an agreement, this will indeed create an arms race and nothing like we've ever seen before, because we will no longer have a treaty with Russia. But who knows? They can come to an agreement before February. And
we don't need the media to tell us that, man. We see this through the scriptures, man. The scriptures plainly tell you that they ain't gonna get along, man. In Daniel 2:43, in Daniel chapter 2, verse 43, it clearly say they shall mingle with the seeds of men, but they shall not cleave one to another. So this is 2nd Ezra 13:1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, then arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the ways thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. What sea? Talking about the sky, man. When Yahweh cracked the clouds. Because if you don't understand, those are waters up there. That's the firmament, man. So it say, but I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain, and flew upon it a chariot. But I would have seen the region or place whereof the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, they all were gathered together to subdue him, were so afraid, and yet durst fight. All these nations. Verse 9 said, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smells of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So when you go to and say the same thing in Isaiah 34, it said this is the exact same account, man. It's Isaiah 34:1. It reads, "Come near, ye nations, and hear and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear and all that therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Hawashi, is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He have utterly destroyed them." This is a future prophecy, man, saying that he already had them destroyed them, man. It said he have utterly destroyed them. He have delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, which is just said in 2 Ezra 13, and the mountains shall melt with their blood, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved. This ain't talking about in the spiritual realm. This talking about on earth, man, with Esau, Edom, and his fighter jets and all his army. And the heavens shall be rolled together as a stroll from the mushroom clouds when the missiles hit, and all their hosts shall fall down, meaning the mighty men, as a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a fallen fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is Esau, Edom, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So, understanding what Ezra saw is what Isaiah saw, man. When you read in Joel 2, as a matter of fact, Joel 3, Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war come draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares and the swords, and your pruning hooks and the spears, let the weak say I'm strong. And that's what's going on, man. The Lord have given technology to all these people, all these nations, man, to create missiles so they can fight amongst each other. But then the whole end game is the Lord gonna put a spirit on their ass to turn and fight him, man. You say, this verse 14, it say multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, Joel 3 and 14. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is near in the valley of decision, man. He's gonna gather all these nations and they finna go to war. That's why he's giving them technology like this, man, to advance their jets, to advance their missiles, to advance whatever they got, man, that they're gonna use to fight against Yahweh and the angels with. This is Psalms 68 and 17, and I ain't gonna make this long. I got a couple precepts. The chariots of Yahweh, Bahashim Havashah, are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord, Yahweh, Bahashim Havashah, is among them, as in Sinai in the holy places. So it said the chariots of the Lord are 20,000, even thousands of angels, man. Okay, and Yahweh said he could have called down 12 legion of angels, man, at any given moment. So 20,000 chariots, even thousands of angels, man, that's why it's going to take Esau and all the other nations to try to fight against the Lord, man. Okay, Exodus 15 and 3, Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. He's a man of war, man. Hey, these devils think they got a fighting chance to destroy the Lord, man, but they in the trick bag, man. That's why he gave them the technology, man. That's why he letting them create this this space force. They have no fighting chance, man. It said none shall be perceived but dust and smells of smoke, man. This is Isaiah 66 and 15. It reads, "For behold, the Lord Yahweh will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many." And that plead, the word plead means to judge, man. Okay. This is Revelation. See, these wacky tacky Christians with their plantation Christianity, they don't understand what it's talking about, man. They think this already done happened. This ain't already done happened, man. This is future prophecy, man. Revelation 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, which is the Roman Empire, and North America is the revised Roman Empire. And there was war in heaven, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was there a place found any more in heaven, meaning on earth, as a rulership. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, the Roman Empire, called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. Who has been deceiving the entire planet, man? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. You going into slavery. After you get taken down by Yahweh and the angels, you go into slavery, man. This is Revelation. And see these wacky ass Christians, they don't understand what it's talking about, man. Satan never got kicked out of heaven, man. The scriptures tell you that, man. It's Revelation 19 and 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he doeth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, man. What does that mean? That means he came and conquered, man. They say he shall go forth to go out to conquering, man. This means he destroyed the nations, man. Okay? It say, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. He was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. Same thing as say in Isaiah 63, man. Who is this that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra, man? It say, and he was clothed with the vesture dipped in blood. That's symbolic, saying the Lord finna come back and destroy the worlds, man. Destroy these nations off the planet, man. And his name is called the Word of Power. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, man. What's the armies? I just read it in Psalm 68 and 17, man. The chariots of the Lord are 20,000, even thousands of angels, man. These are the armies that's following Yahweh Shai to come back and get busy, man. They're gonna destroy Esau, Edom, and his angels in the drop of a dime, man. But the Lord put that pride on them, like he did Pharaoh, to make them think they really got a fighting chance, man, to overtake Yahweh Shai, man. Hey, that's how the Lord cold, man, with that pride, man, on these devils, man. It said, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Now it said he had on his head many crowns, meaning this is a future prophecy, man. It was already written. It's done. We just haven't seen the end of this movie yet, man. But it's already done, man. Verse 15 say, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations, all 17 heathen nations, man. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of the almighty power. Where's that at, man? In Isaiah 63, man. As a matter of fact, let's read that, a little bit of that. And I'll close out. Isaiah 63 and verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? That it say this that is glorious in his apparel. It's talking about Yahweh Shai, man. We just read it in Revelation 19, man. It's a traveling the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat. I have trodden the wine press alone, which I just read in Revelation, and of the people there is none with me, for I will tread them in my anger and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come, man. And that's what Yahweh shall come to do, man. He's giving these devils the technology to create these missiles, to create these fighter jets. I want to pull up this new jet. It's called a TR-3B, man. And they making it basically based off one of the chariots, man. The technology of the chariot. So these devils really think, man, they got a chance, but that's the beauty of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, man. They're giving them this pride, the same pride that he gave to Antiochus Epiphanes, telling about he was a god, the same pride he gave to Alexander the Greek, right? To Pharaoh. It's just some of the same pride, man. These devils have no clue that they ask for to burn up, man. When you go to another precept too, I meant to read it, Joel 2 and 20. It reads this: but I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face towards the east sea, right? Meaning the Persian Gulf, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea, meaning the Red Sea, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. It said the same thing in Isaiah 34 and 2nd Ezra 13, man, that they stink, man. There shall be nothing to perceive but dust and smells of smoke, man. These devils is finna get annihilated, man. They don't even know it, man. They don't even know they have no chance of winning, man. Hey, but that's the Lord, man. That's the Lord. Hey, so look, hey, Shalom, everybody on the comment board. Shalom to the Akwathim and Akwath. Shalom. How about Shema Shah Rock and Thumb? Hey, so Lord Williams edifying. You gotta give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rekak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders over all of Israel. And a sincere salutation to all the Ark and pushing this truth and believing this truth throughout the four winds of the earth, the entire world, waking up the hope for the elect. And shalom to the Akwathiam who are listening and learning, the few sisters who are listening and learning. Lord willing to edify. Until next time, I say shalom, wa abar babal. Stay prayed up, ate the water for tuning in. May Yahweh Bashim Shah continue to bless you in your houses. Stay prayed up.